Okay guys, Cockerpunk here again, making stop number 5 on the Old Guns tour. I got my E-mag here. Beautiful gun she is, and lots of you have been complaining that I just don't have enough light in my videos to show off the true gun porn of it all. So Cockerpunk said, let there be light, and there was. And it was good. Yes, I like blasphemy. So, here is my E-mag. Whoop, it's missing the macroline hose. Which runs like that. Yeah, so we'll take a look at my E-mag here. Take off my barrel here. Now, first off, this is not a stock E-mag as you would buy it from Airgun Designs in about 2001. This has the X valve and the ULE body, and it has a non-stock trigger. It would originally have come with a stainless steel body, probably a power feed or vert feed, stainless steel twist lock body, and then it would have the E-mag valve. Later on, they made the X mag, and then they made the E-mag Extreme, which was basically this gun. So I took off the grip panel here because I want to show you the insides, but first things first here is that, yeah, basically I'm going to be stripping this entire gun for you because there's so many weird, cool little features. So, again, this is the X valve. It's capability-wise the same valve as what's in my RT Classic over there, except for it's made out of aluminum, so it's a heck of a lot lighter. It's a great valve. Shoots, you know, whatever, the gabillion balls per second, full speed, that RT can. It's clocked at 34.5, so that the gun is way faster than the electronics. It also has the level 10 bolt kit, so it doesn't chop, yada yada. Notice I don't have eyes on here. The X mags had eyes, but the E-mags, the original E-mags, did not. And but that's okay because the level 10 makes chopping impossible anyway. So stopping the firing cycle with eyes doesn't actually help you. So if the firing cycle itself doesn't chop the ball. ULE body, just an aluminum cocker threaded body. Then the rail here, which I ULE'd the crap out of, I milled it all to hell to try and reduce weight because this gun, even with all the aluminum parts, still weighs probably in the 2.5 pounds, might even be up to 3 pounds of weight. So it's a heavy gun. So this is the entire pneumatic portion of the gun. Air comes in here, comes out here, gets regulated, gets everything. That's the entire pneumatic portion of the gun. This is where the barrel mounts. That's its sole purpose, and the hopper. This is just a spacer to allow the sear to have room to operate. So this gun is actually a sear tripper. It doesn't have a spool valve style mechanical, or I mean pneumatic solenoid. This is the solenoid. It's a huge coil. This thing, the coil in your little pneumatic solenoids is probably about that big around and about 1/4 of an inch long. Tiny little thing. And that coil is what electricity runs through to make an electromagnet, which pulls a spool valve. Just like an auto cocker 3-way, which switches the sides of the solenoid. And that's how you get your thing. This thing just pulls directly on the sear itself. You can see the E-mag sear has two. This is the bolt, this is the on-off thing. And then this is what a usual auto mag has, is this little prong here. That is attached to this linkage, which pops out. You can see it popping out right behind the trigger there. That's what makes a regular mechanical mag work. That's the regular mechanical trigger. But you can probably also see there's a second one here that comes down into the solenoid. And so the solenoid just pulls the trigger for you, more or less. It's just like a spider style sear tripper. But this leads itself to a really cool feature, which is this switch right here. You can see it's in E mode right now, right? I can flip it into mechanical mode here and pull the trigger the full length and fire it as a mechanical gun. I can shoot it in both electronic and mechanical modes, which is really kind of cool because I always thought that was a dumb feature of the gun. But I was playing a big game with this gun, and absolutely ridiculously loved it, because most of the time I could just leave it in mechanical mode because there's no need to shoot fast, and then whenever I wanted to shoot fast I could just flip it into E mode. And that actually brings up a funny story. When we were playing, we got ambushed and I shot one guy right after he shot Bryce, because I was playing with Bryce, and Bryce was right behind me. He got shot, so I blasted him, and then I turned and I was like, oh, it's an ambush, time to go into E mode. So I flipped it into E mode, and instead of like pop 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 pop, it was like and I'm just running a Revy on top here, but the level 10 is good enough that it's not chopping, and it's capped at 15 with this software. And Chris Nathan, who's a friend of Bryce's, he also does testing, he was there. He said it was like a difference between night and day. It was like pop, pop, pop. So, one gun can serve two guns' purposes, so it's kind of fun like that. And you can do things like that. That brings me to the on-off switch. This gun doesn't have an on-off switch. It has this, which pulls out this separates the battery from its connection. So I got Xmod programming on here, which has all the new modes. It has PSP, Millennium, everything, even some blatant cheater modes. Anyway, so we can just, when I hold this up, you can see the solenoid fire. It's not even a spring return. It requires the response of the valve to fire it. Anyway, so this is the on-off switch, which is kind of nice because you know instantly whether the gun is on or off. I just have this ring on here, so when I just keep it on my finger while I'm playing, and then that way I don't lose it, and I always know if my gun's on or off. So that brings me to this huge solenoid, right? Requires a lot more juice, and that's why the E-mags have this. This is the battery pack. This whole front box is a battery pack. It's got 14 AAA cells in it. It's rechargeable. It works great. I got the charger somewhere over here. Never run out of batteries in a day of play or whatever. It works great, but it's easily the heaviest part of the gun. None of this stuff weighs anything. But this is the heaviest portion of the gun. If you could make an E-mag without this, it would be one of the lightest guns ever made. That's one thing I'm going to be working on here after I take Electronics 1. I'm a mechanical engineer, but we got to take some electrical stuff, so I know a fair amount about electrical stuff. And I'm going to work on making 14 or 16 volt battery that's about half this weight. That'll really bring the weight down. Anyway, it's a great gun. Now that I've field stripped the whole thing for you and showed you all the cool features, there's a design philosophy that AGD has that no other gun company has. This trigger system alone here has 3 large magnetic fields running in it. This is a huge magnetic field. It uses a Hess trigger like the Mini, and it uses a magnetic return. So, like, within 3 inches of space, you have 3 magnetic fields all firing at different times, and yet the gun still works awesome. They're just little features that it has too, like the battery pack, it's screwed in with 2 screws that are off-center. This is, you might be like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just put them down the center line? It would look cooler. Well, when you're putting this thing back together, you could put it together backwards if you didn't have them offset. So they have just lots of little features that you can tell somebody thought about it before they built it, and thought about how it would be used and misused, and you just don't see that today on modern guns. And it's a delight as an engineer to take apart an automag, because there's just all these little things that you can tell someone thought about and someone purposefully designed into the gun that no other gun company does, and it's really different than anything made today, and I love it. So you guys have your fun, and that was the E-mag. Keep in touch for a few more updates, so have a nice one, and I'll talk to you later.